So my address today is about the power of forgiveness. And I know lots about it is written, there's lots of different angles on it. But at the end of the day, the power of forgiveness is not about forgiving others. It's never been about forgiving others. It's about forgiving ourselves. Because as long as we don't forgive ourselves about things that we think we should have done, or the picture, or the illusion, or the idea we have that we should have acted differently, circumstances should have been differently, that we should have had different people, we should have made different choices in our life, we shouldn't have allowed this, we should have known that. Now what we're really saying is when we were in a situation where things happened, we should have had knowledge that we only really could have had either afterwards or years afterwards. So when we look back, we're holding ourselves hostage to that. We haven't forgiven ourselves for things that we now look at might be the wrong decision or might have been the wrong choice. Yet when we were in the middle of it, and the knowledge we had with the circumstances we were in, it was a very valid choice. It didn't scream at us, this is going to go pear-shaped, don't go there. No, with the knowledge we had, it made perfect sense. With the circumstances we were in and in the emotional and spiritual space we were in, it made perfect sense. So now, years later or weeks later, where we have a quiet new knowledge about it, we go back and go like, oof, would I have known? But you know what? You didn't. You didn't. So we come back with new eyes looking at our old situation and judge ourselves. So the forgiveness and the power of forgiveness, before it even goes out, that we can use it to forgive others, we have to forgive ourselves. We cannot give out there what we cannot practice with ourselves. And we are incredibly harsh on ourselves. I always say to everybody, if we would be half as nice to ourselves as we are to everybody else, we would all be in a very different space nowadays. We always keep the good stuff for the outside. And inside we go like, you should have done that better, you should have known that better, why did you make that decision, you didn't try hard enough, you're not good enough, you should have studied that and not this, I should have chosen that partner, not that one. But what that is as well is saying, I don't trust the universe and what it's doing. I know better than the universe. I know better than my soul, and I know better than this whole huge interwoven cosmos that we are. Yet I'm one little human being within all of that. And who is telling me that? My brain. Now, well, the brain and I have a bit of a love-hate relationship going on, my brain and I, because the brain is just an organ which is trained. Yet there's the soul, and it's leading us exactly into the situations we need, with exactly the people we need, at exactly the time we need. Because our brain might not choose so at that moment, but we're part of the big picture. We're part of all these millions of soul contracts there are out there. We are the universe. We are God. We are the light. We are love. Yet then we separate ourselves and beat ourselves up over it. And then we get a different angle of the whole universe, because now the universe is out there, and I'm here. Now the world is horrible to me. Now I'm getting shortchanged. Now it's so unfair. Now I'm having bad luck. Everybody else has good luck. Everybody else always falls with the bum in the butt, and yet I always knock my head. Well, if you separate yourself from the whole, you can't go with the flow of the whole, because then you just decided to swim upstream. Now, you're absolutely entitled to do that. But if something constantly pushes against you and you're not happy or balanced about it, it's maybe time to look at where you positioned yourself within that. Yet your soul has always been part of it. You took the illusion and your picture out of it and decided you're not part of it. So there is this whole separation happening. Well, the soul is there and it's kind of pleading with you, just come back and we have this. And you're kind of like, no, I have to do this. And once that happens, I'm going to be in a better space. And once that person does that, I'm going to be in a better space. And once if I meditate enough, I'm surely going to be part of the source again. Well, why did you decide not to be part of it in the first place? And we all have hardships and we all have harder times, and it's easy to get into that spot, and sometimes it is just too much for us, and then we can go into like, oh my God, why is this happening? We can ask why, of course, this is part of our learning experience, but the moment we separate, this is where we actually trip ourselves up big time. And then comes the victim thing, and then comes things like guilt and fear, and all those negative feelings. And then we start investing into the separation. Then we look for things. Oh yeah, I'm looking for the 10th job now. I'm sure they're not going to take me either. And there it is, they're not taking you. Why? Because you just decided to separate yourself from that before it could even happen. So we're so busy beating ourselves up and having pictures and different angles on just simple one thing. We all are. I am. I am either way. And how difficult or hard I make that for me is entirely up to me. Yes, some things are harder than others. I get that. But the harder it is, there's the same equivalent of learning and growth to it. The biggest growth doesn't come out of the easiest places. Yet it's just that, growth. Yes, and sometimes we have to repeat, and sometimes it takes longer. But that's just part of it. Some lessons are bigger than others. And we've all chosen them. We've chosen them before we've chosen the body and came down here. The body is just a vehicle. On a soul level, we have had 1 million bodies by now, and we had so many lifetimes, we had so many angles. Yet we find ourselves, again, no matter how old our soul is, asking the same fundamental things. Why is the world against me? Why doesn't it work like that? I do everything right, but it doesn't come right. Well, are you doing it outwardly right or inwardly right? Are you being nice to everybody else and you're beating yourself up? Are you helping everybody else to grow, but yet you put yourself in the back shelf because what you're actually saying is everybody else is more important than me? If you don't know how you work, if you don't know to feed your soul, we constantly take it upon ourselves to try and feed everybody else's. We mean so well, we really do. The intent is good. Yet, half the time, if we're really truly being honest with ourselves, it's a bit of a hypothetical stance on it. Because you do as I tell you, but not as I do. Yes, you need to look after yourself. Yes, you need to take time out. Yes, you need to be kind and gentle with yourself. Oh, don't worry, I push my deadline 24/7, so I don't sleep. I eat junk food on the run because I don't have time. I'm sick. I'm taking handfuls of tablets and everything. But as long as you're okay, you need to do that because that's good for you. What am I saying? It's good for you, but not good for me. And I don't know how to practice it, so how valid does it make it? It's not wrong, but how authentic is it? So forgiveness comes in again as like, if we forgive ourselves for things that were an illusion in the picture anyway. If something isn't supposed to be in your life, it will simply not be there. It's that simple. And yes, it includes loss, and it includes great luck, how people call it. In my eyes, luck and bad luck doesn't exist, but anyway. So how it's our perception thereof. So we need to start letting go of those expectations of what it should or shouldn't have been. Because it was, it is, full stop. It is. And whatever comes after it is, or I am, is our perception, is our angle, is our story. And if we don't like what comes after I am and it is, we got to shift that. Because the universal truth is, we are one anyway, at any given time. And if we choose different angles to look at it, that doesn't change that. I'm just now decided to take the longer route around to get to the same conclusion. But it doesn't change. And the moment we get away from that we are separated, or that others are separated, or that events are separated, we can't be in the flow. We can't be in balance. We can't be in the best possible space. And then we start fighting it out there because we fought it for how long internally. It's got nothing to do with when this is happening outside and that is happening outside. That's bonus. But when you talk to people, it's like, how are you doing? No, I'm okay. I'm trying this, I'm trying that. Okay, and then, no, I'm going to take some time out once I've got the new job. I'm going to take some time out once I sold the house. I'm going to take some time out once I've got the relationship issues sorted. But isn't time out bringing you in your best possible space to be in one with the universe and with Source that can give you the only space of love there is? If you love yourself, this is what you put out. Automatically, there's less pushing against you. Yet we try to force it on out there and hope it ripples back in. It's an inside out. You are anyway. It is anyway. So we can't actually ever expect the world to give us something that we're not putting out there. I'm not saying this to point fingers, but the concept at forgiveness is we are too hard on ourselves. We are divine already. We don't have to justify that. We don't have to prove it. None of this. We're here. We're somehow qualified. We've done all of that. Yet half of us spend this lifetime trying to justify why we're here and earn our spot. We don't have to. We're here. We've done, we've qualified, we ran the gauntlet, we did all of that, we did our soul evolvement, we are here, full stop. That is beyond having to be explained or even being mentioned. That's the most obvious part, yet that is what we question the most. Now I have to justify that I'm good enough or of help enough or providing enough in order that I'm actually worthy of being here. Again, we get lost in the picture. Yes, there's roles we play, but they're just roles. When you ask people, who are you, and tell me about you, they normally tell you, my name is Heike, I'm a psychic medium. We use our roles. We don't tell them who we are. I give them a name which my parents had given me. I haven't even chosen it. I'm okay with it, but still, by the time I could let them know, it was a few years down the line. Then the roles. I'm a mother, or I'm a teacher, or a psychic medium, or I'm a doctor. We define ourselves through roles. Yet we want to be perfectly at peace and at unison with the universe. Yes, we define ourselves there. Roles are part of the learning process. That's fine, but that's not who we are. But we get lost in it. Things like abundance, joy, happiness, that's our birthright. We don't have to earn it. Not at all. But no one else owes it to us either. It's for us to do it. It's our birthright. We have to create that. But without being able to forgive us, which is ultimately a letting go of all the stuff we're holding, which keeps us in the past. And it prevents us from being in the here and in the now, which is the only space that we will ever have any kind of control over in a way as we determine and manifest in it. We're so busy in the past, or then so busy in the future, that we miss the now, which is the only space to be. And then we look back and we go like, oh, where did the year go? Oh, look at those pictures when I was at school. That felt like yesterday, but okay, it's actually 30 years. Darn, where did the time go? Because we were so busy and planning for the future or preventing stuff from the past or maneuvering around it, we missed the now. Yet that is the present. It's a present. Yet we don't look at the present. And I know I'm generalizing and we're learning to do that, but we have to relearn that. Now, kids automatically do that. Oh, they're so awesome kids, because they go by instinct and they do what the soul is telling them. They live in the moment, and we teach it out of them. We mean well, and then we spend the rest of our lives trying to get it back. So it's like, because they just do stuff because it feels good, it smells good, it sounds good, and you ask them, why did you do that? And they say, because. Well, because it's the perfect answer. Because it looked good, it felt good, I liked it, I enjoyed it, and it was perfect every second till you stopped me. And then I'm telling you next, well, because it's not an answer. Well, of course not, because well, for me it is, but it's not an answer for you because now it has to fit into a category. It has to be because it was fun, because it is. No, you can't do that because of that. So what you're telling the kids initially is, going with your instinct and going with your soul isn't good enough. You need to justify it. We teach our kids to justify their being. We justify our being. The moment somebody doesn't like what we do, we normally go like, oh, immediately go into explaining. So when people say to me, Heike, why did you do that? It's like, because I can, and I've chosen to. And that's all it takes. Obviously, I make sure that nobody gets hurt and the intent is right. But beyond that, and they're like, I don't like that. Well, I'm sorry you don't like that. What are you going to do with that? I've chosen it because the intent is right. It didn't hurt anybody, and it made perfect sense in my life. Now, somebody else with a different life will not make sense. They might not like it. That is okay. There's no use me justifying it or me trying to convince you. Your reality is your reality. Mine is mine. None is wrong. But don't justify it. You do not have to justify to be here. You do not have to justify to walk your path. You are. It is. I am. And that is the universal truth. So forgive yourself for something that wasn't even there to be forgiven in the first place. Because it was there because you've chosen it. It is there because we are one. We are, it is. We get stuck in the little stuff. And we forget the big stuff, the present, here, now. We forgot completely about it. I mean, each of you is like with present awareness. It's like, if I would ask you without looking, what color is the chair you're sitting on? Half of you would have to check or look at other chairs. And this is just very basic down awareness. We don't have it. Yet if I ask you what's on your calendar next week, you can tell me. What was for dinner last night? You can tell me. Yet you don't know which chair you're sitting on. So where's the now? So when it comes to forgiveness and letting go, don't hold yourself hostage to something that had to be there in the first place, that you have chosen. It is. And if people push against you, let them. It is their choice. It's theirs. Treat it with love. I acknowledge it. I wish you wouldn't choose that because it's obviously not really healthy for you, but let me know how I can help you. Not let me justify it. No, I don't need to justify that. So with all of that, what I am and it is, love yourself first. Forgive yourself first. Because this is ultimately what we are. What we put out in the world is what's coming back. And we don't have to catch every ball that comes flying our way because they throw them. Those who make the balls are entitled to them. If you want to catch one or two, do that. It's not your job to catch other people's balls. So love yourself, forgive yourself, and automatically the world will benefit. Thank you so much.